Have you ever wondered why one person in your family has freckles or another has curly hair? To understand this, we need to understand inheritance and how genetic information is passed from one generation to the next. For that, we have to turn to the father of genetics, Gregor Mendel. A short bio. Mendel was an Austrian monk who chose to continue his education and explore his scientific ideas. He was happy that he was able to study physics, botany, and natural sciences while also conducting experiments about variation in plants. Mendel's experiments. He chose to study the pea plant as his primary model system to study heredity because it grows quickly, produces many seeds, and can either self-pollinate or cross-pollinate with another plant. His experiments allowed him to discover fundamental principles of inheritance, which also apply to people and other animals. Mendel was curious about what determined variance. He decided to look at 7 different pea plant traits: height, seed color, seed shape, pod color, pod shape, flower position, and flower color. He used selective breeding to observe these traits over many generations. Mendel's findings. Mendel quickly discovered that by breeding a homozygous plant with yellow pea seeds and a homozygous plant with green pea seeds, the first offspring generation were heterozygous, yet always had yellow seeds. That is, they inherited a Y, yellow, dominant allele from one parent and a Y, green, recessive allele from the other. This meant that they had a 50-50 chance of passing on one or the other alleles to each individual offspring. The next generation, however, always had a ratio of 3 yellow to 1 green. Based on a mathematical analysis of the results of his experiments, he was confident to reach 3 conclusions. First, each trait is dependent on genes which are passed on unchanged. Second, one gene for each trait is inherited from each parent. Thirdly, some traits may not be apparent in an individual, but can be passed on to the next generation. He also concluded that the genotype is always more important than the phenotype when it comes to heredity. How it was perceived by other scientists. In 1866, Mendel published Experiments in Plant Hybridization, which detailed his observations and explained his model of inheritance. It was sad that the scientific community took no notice of his work until 30 years later, by which time he had died. However, his work is the foundation of the modern science of genetics.